I said, let's get Deacon Dan. And that was our time. He said, fine. So here comes the Rams out of huddle. Van Barken was the quarterback. He hands fake handoff to Deacon Dan. He comes into the line. They pitch the ball out to a halfback, and Finn and I got Deacon Dan down on the ground. We're really going at him. So the official grabs us. He says, if you guys do that again, it's going to cost you $100. I'm going to throw you out of the game. We didn't know that Deacon Dan, he ran off the field. And they put the other fullback in named Tank Younger. And they both look alike. They were 6'3", 240 pounds. They're both black, so unless you knew the number, you didn't know who the hell they were. Same play again. We got him down on the ground. Now, I got his nose, and I'm trying to pull his nose off his face, and Finn is banging on the back of the neck. So all of a sudden, from underneath the pile comes, hey, he says, leave me go. He says, this ain't the Deke, it's the Tank. We had the wrong guy.
Players like Art Donovan could find something funny in a broken leg. They were undeniably violent, certifiably tough.
I lost 6 teeth on one play when I blocked the punt. He kicked me in the teeth and knocked all my teeth out. And I vividly remember that because I was looking on the ground for my teeth. And everyone was yelling, get in the huddle, Bob. You know, it wasn't get off the field, Bob. You know, get in the huddle. We don't want to call a timeout.
Number 79, Bob St. Clair of the 49ers, had a caveman aura, but he was no brainless brute. At 6'9", 270 pounds, he was a massive blocking machine. St. Clair credited his great strength to eating raw meat, an eccentricity which earned him the nickname, the Geek.
We used to go out and shoot doves, and it was all illegal, you know, in the season and so forth. And I would take the doves, and I remember one day, I had about 12, maybe more than that, 12, 15 doves. And we were plucking them and cleaning them, and I would take the heart, you know, and I was making a little pile of dove hearts over here in the corner. And then this kid from Nebraska came over and said, what are you doing with that pile of hearts? And I said, why, I'm going to eat them. That's why I put them over there. And he said, what, are you going to make some kind of a sauce? I said, sauce? No, these are real good this way here. You see these? And then I put 2 in my mouth and was chewing on them and looking at them. And I thought he turned 3 different colors. I thought he was going to faint right there. He ran out of there. I'm sure that he would call back to his girlfriend or his wife or his mother or something in Omaha and say, there are cannibals out here.
The 1950s produced the most outlandish cast of characters in pro football history. A witch's brew of monsters, mavericks, and magicians. The most colorful team in the league was the Detroit Lions, a riotous bunch of revelers who loved wine, women, and song. Their party shaper was quarterback Bobby Lane.
One time we passed him at halftime, coming out for the second half in Baltimore. I said, Bobby, how you doing? He breathed on me. I said, Jesus, is that from last night? He said, I had a couple at halftime. So, you know, he was a character, but a great football player. Tough guy.
This blonde, slightly pudgy Texan played football and lived life in flamboyant style. In a city of working men, number 22 was a workmanlike quarterback who appeared to do nothing right except win.
I did do some things that I do regret now. As I always said, I went in the front door. I didn't sneak in the back door. It hurt my family some. That's the only thing. The publicity. Everybody knew me in Detroit, and I couldn't go anywhere without some conversation.
A teammate once said, when Bobby said block, you blocked. When he said drink, you drank. Lane and the Lions typified a sense of adventure, something that transcends statistics, a flair that endures in the memory.
Hit him, he didn't care. Play without a face mask. And then you really went after him. 3 of us hit him at one time, and they all holler, watch out, Bobby, here they come. And when he got him back in the offensive huddle, he kicked 2 of them. He kicked Kriegman right in the legs. He was so mad at Kriegman for missing Marquette, he kicked him right in the shins. Kriegman stood there and took it.
Bobby was hot-headed and explosive. He played full tilt every moment, and expected his teammates to do the same. Under his whip, the Lions won 4 Western Conference titles, 2 NFL championships, and became more important to Detroit than General Motors. While the Lions were consistently of championship caliber, other teams also shaped the history of the 50s. The Los Angeles Rams dominated the early years with a glamorous team that possessed more skilled players than any team of the decade. The Rams rang up points like a pinball machine, and the results of their games read like old-time basketball scores. In 1956, George Halas's Chicago Bears were primed to win a title with their bruising style of play. But 1956 belonged to number 42 quarterback Charlie Connolly, who passed the New York Giants to an NFL championship. All across the 50s stretched the shadow of the most dominant team, the Cleveland Browns. In 10 years, the dynasty created by Paul Brown captured 7 Eastern Conference crowns and 3 NFL championships. While the Browns were a model of excellence, a history of failure had marked the Baltimore Colts. The 50s Colts were victims of bad breeding, sired by the sad sack Colts of the late 40s and the dreadful Dallas Texans of 1952. These Colts were a bad seed. They were a collection of oddballs, a team with little character, but many characters.
Don Colo, Sister Overna, Y.A. and myself, we were roommates. So we had a big shower in this big bathroom, and we locked the shower stall door, and we filled up the shower all the way up to maybe about 6 foot. And we went over the top from the glass, and the 4 of us are in there. We were all, bare, swimming around, having a good time, and somebody hit the latch, and the damn door opens up, and maybe 100 gallons of water goes all over our floor and down the next apartment house, and the ceiling caved in. And you know how to pay for it. Tittle, we didn't have any money. And he was the only guy making any money, and from that day, he would never speak to us, really. He was tighter than a clam with lockjaw.
Head coach Weeb Eubank rebuilt this laughing stock of a team by drafting sure shots or taking chances on obscure college players. Tackling fullback Alan Amici, number 35, proved harder than knocking a tank off its tracks. And there was no defense against the acrobatics of Raymond Barry. The Pony Express began to roll in earnest when a racehorse named Lenny Moore became their number 1 draft choice. Wild number 24 added a new dimension to the offense. It was another eager rookie that made the dramatic difference. Johnny Unitas transformed himself from a $6 a day sandlot player into an NFL quarterback and transformed the Colts from chumps into champions.
We had a football team that, laughed together, played together, lived together, liked each other. It was a rare combination of personalities and talents, and I think the Colt team in those years was the best place in the world to be. Great ownership, great leadership, and great players.
Baltimore won an NFL championship in 1958 and again in 1959 when they defeated the New York Giants. This marvelous team, which included 7 Hall of Fame members, crushed the Giants 31-16 to close out the decade. By the turn of the decade, pro football became part of the American culture, and the fabulous 50s will be remembered fondly for those monsters, mavericks, and magicians who played their sport with abandon, with delight, and with a touch of class.